Hi everybody, it's crazy, it's Monday, and it's time for the BGE video of the week. Now before I get started, gotta give a shout out to my trusted because you guys rock, to my crazy fam, I love you guys. Now we're up to episode number 129, and last week we ended off with bge.texture, and that's where I ended off, and you also ended off with the file. It's key_detector_logic_break.blend, which whenever you hit play, it's supposed to tell you what key you hit. I couldn't get it to work. Maybe it's just because I've got such a different system than most people. It may not work in 0.2.5. I'm gonna have to go back to 0.2.0 to try to figure that one out. But if you play with it, you'll figure it out. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so bge.texture. The texture module was first discussed in the Chapter 5 graphics. With the texture module, you can change any texture from your game while the game is running. The texture can be replaced by a single image, a video, a game camera, and even a webcam stream. Let's look at the basic example. Please open the file, and I'm going to go to it right now. So let's go ahead and go to it. We're going to go open. We're going to come over here to the little arrow. We're going to go back. We're going to go to 6_texture. And then we're going to go to basic texture replacement.blend. Okay, and then you'll come to this. And as you see, it'll say here, I did try to use it and it just didn't work for me again. So we're going to follow along with it and just read along with all this. Okay, so let's look at the basic example. This file has a single plane with a texture we will replace with an external image. Press the spacebar to change the image and enter to return the original one. The script responsible for the texture switching is this one right here. From bge.logic, so on and so forth. It's going to continue all the way down. Okay, and which will be to here. So you get no more. Okay. Now, we're going to probably have to find out where these paths are. Okay, and this texture is, because apparently it's not in there. Okay, so, and a lot of things you can do with Blender is you would actually attach like this PNG as the texture, and then pack it with the blend file, because sometimes that actually helps it. Sometimes it doesn't, but in this case, you know, it might need it to. All right. It's a simple script, but let's look at the individual steps. We start by getting the material ID. That can be retrieved for an image used by an object, hence the prefix IM, or a material that uses a texture with the prefix MA. Okay, so what they're talking about is this one right here. Okay, it's the first one we're going to be looking at. Okay. With this ID, we can create a texture object that controls the texture to be used by this object and the other object sharing the same image/material. Okay, now we're going to go down to, we're going to create a texture object, which is this one right here. The next step is to create a source to replace the texture with. The bge.texture module supports the following sources: image mpeg, which is images; video fmpeg, what they used to call ffmpeg, that's for videos; and image buff, which is data buffer; and image mirror, which is a mirror; image render, which is game camera; image viewport, current viewport; and image mix, which is a mix of sources. Okay, as you see, this one right here is an image file. So the image is just going to be just images. Okay, that's what they're going to use for this one. New source. Where's that one at? Right there. New source. Okay, that's the one we're working on. Now we only need to assign a new source to be used by the object texture and to refresh the latter. The refresh function has a Boolean argument for advanced settings. A rule of thumb is, for videos, use refresh true. For everything else, try refresh false. first. Okay, so what they're talking about is right here. Okay, you want to do refresh false for everything other than video. If it's going to be a video, then you want to automatically put it as true. Okay, the idea is first you try false on everything else because it may not trigger. Okay. For the image to be permanent, we have to make sure the new dynamic texture is not destructed after we leave our Python function. Therefore, we store it in a global module bge.logic. If you need to reset the texture to its original source, simply delete the stored object. For example, del logic.dynamic_texture. Okay? And what they're talking is this right here. Okay? You're going to try to delete it first. If not, and you didn't hit enter, it'll pass it. It'll say, okay, we'll go on past it, not even paying any attention to it. That's basically all there is to this script. Okay? Since this is a simple image, you do not need to do anything after that. If you are using a video as source, you need to keep refreshing the texture every frame. Videos also support an audio-video syncing system to make them play harmoniously together. You first play the audio and then query its current position to pass as a parameter when updating the video frame. For example, logic.video.refresh true, logic.sound.time, : okay? The audio can come from autospace, okay, object, or even a sound actuator. In the book files, you can find other examples using different sorts of source objects. Basic replacement of texture, which would be basic texture replacement, which is the one we're doing right now. Okay, you also have basic video sound.blend, and if we go up here and hit open, you'll see it right in here. Okay, basic video.blend. All right, a video player with interface controls, okay, which is play video audio blend. That's this one right here. Okay, video playback with auth space. Okay, and that one is this one right here. And the mirror effect, which is mirror.blend, that's this one right here. And render to texture.blend, which is, no, that's not it. Render to texture, I don't see that one. There it is, render to texture, there we go. And then last but not least, webcam. Okay, now you could mess around with these. I would suggest you do so. It's the only way you're going to be able to learn anything about them, is to play with them, destroy them. Just don't mess them up. You know, save it as a different file and then mess with it. That's the best way to do it. Okay, so take this file, like for example this file right here. You're going to open it like we just did, and then you're going to come up here and you're going to file, save as, and then just put like a number 1. Just put like that. Just put a little 1 there. Hit the little plus mark here, and it will add 1 there, so you can have this same exact thing. And if you hit save, now you can mess with this one because now it's the 1 file. Okay, so you can mess this all up, and you'll still be able to go back to your original, which is this one. Okay, it won't mess it up. You can mess this one up all you want. Okay, so I would suggest doing that with each one and playing around with them, having fun, figuring them out. That's the way to do it. Okay. All right. So let's see, how far am I in? Yeah, I'm about 9 minutes. So what I would suggest is, like I said, I would open these all up, like this one right here. You come over here to File, hit Save As, give you a little +1 of it over here, and then hit Save. So that way, when you come to mess with them and you want to, tear them apart and figure them out, all you have to do is click the +1 one. Okay, the one you put a little 1 next to. And then if you, by chance, some odd way or other, messed it up, then you can easily come back and go, oh, well, I got to erase this one, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to the original one, and then resave it, okay, which is save as. And you can always put it on this one. Even though this is in red, you can still double do it, and it'll still put it as 1, and so you can refix it. Okay, a lot of people don't know that they can do that, and I would suggest you constantly save. Always save, guys. Always save, because you'll get into a project and you'll get so far into it, and you'll make one mess up, and yeah, you got to go all the way back to before you started. I was working on a building here about a couple weeks ago, and I had it all set up the way I wanted to, and yeah, something happened, Blender crashed, and I lost it all. It didn't save it, it didn't do anything, and I forgot to save, so all that work I did, all that fixing I did, was for nothing. So remember to save. That is a very important thing with Blender. Save, 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 and save it as different files. Whenever I do mine, I have like 1 through like 150, because of the fact that here on this one I wanted to do I did this, and I wanted to save it before I tried to play it to see what happens. I'll do that with a lot of them, and I'll wind up with like several iterations of the same file, but what it is, it's different steps going into the, to where I ended off with. So if I mess something up and I realize, oh, in the 106th that I had messed up in the 95th, I don't have that far to go back. Okay, if you just say, like, say for example, you saved it as 1, and then you went through all this, and you saved it, and you did this, and you saved it, and you, oh, you know what, I forgot to do this, and that, if I do this, it's going to mess everything up. You can't go back. You're still stuck in this particular file. You can go back to the original one, and that gives you the start, but now you're going to lose all that progression from that point to that point. So remember to save, and save properly. A lot of people don't know how to save properly. Okay, so let's switch over to here. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end on bge.constraints for next week. That is on page, I'm going to say bottom, middle, top. I'm going to say top of page 65 for next week. Okay, so play with this file. These files that are in the book. Play with them, tinker around with them, make you a duplicate copy, so if you mess it up, you can go back to the original. Okay, and always save. Save, 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 and we'll see y'all next week.